So I welcome you all on behalf of Association of Muslim Professionals for online career guidance seminar. The main aim of this session is to help students choose a field that is in tune with their skills and their job expectations. So with the help of such career guidance seminar, most students end up choosing the right career and perform their level best, which ultimately helps them succeed. So AMP keeps organizing such sessions for the benefit of everyone. So for this live session, we'll be starting a live session with a short qirat, and then I would request Ms. Fahima to take it over and do a short introduction of Association of Muslim Professionals.
Yeah, Jazakallah Shehzad bhai.
Yeah, I'll just do a short qirat, Fahima ma'am,
Okay,
and then you
yeah,
can take
done.
over. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراعون ويمنعون الماعون صدق الله العظيم. Thank you so much. Fahima ma'am, I request you to kindly take it over from here and you can introduce Association of Muslim Professionals.
Yeah, Jazakallah Shehzad bhai.
You're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So with immense pleasure, I welcome you all to this sessions. So let me start the intro about the AMP in the brief. I know there is a number of NGOs are working, but AMP is perfect platform to contribute and work for the community. इंशाल्लाह इस सफर में आप तमाम लोग इस बात से वाकिफ हो जाओगे. So AMP is always open to new ideas and initiatives which benefit the community. It's the one of the such a biggest platform where the all professionals and experts AMP will initiate the movement to light up the dark path of those less fortunate and lead them into a new era of hope and progress. So Alhamdulillah, AMP has registered in India, USA, UK, and Australia as a non-profit organization. And AMP has completed its 12 year serving our community in the field of education, employment, and empowerment. And AMP has a vision to positively impact lives of 10 million people by 2030. So all of the AMP initiatives are very good, like India Zakat and other scholarship funds, skill development lecture, job fairs. So mashallah, all of them will give tremendous results in the coming future. So the mission of AMP to empower the underprivileged for the greater benefit of the society in general and nation as a whole. So there is a vision to be model community which is advanced in education, socially progressive, culturally vibrant, politically influential, and economically dynamic. Slide can be changed? Yeah. So there are some achievements. Alhamdulillah, it's a few achievements are here. There is a n numbers of achievements has been done by the AMP. So like here, there are some few slides are here. Like AMP has conducted more than 2,750 plus SDPs, that is school development programs, in 800 plus schools across the country, benefiting more than 2,75,000 students and 100 plus teacher trainings and parenting workshop. And successfully organized consecutive annual career fest, thereby benefiting more than 1.5 lakh students and assisted more than 20,000 candidates in getting jobs as per their skills and qualification by organizing 350 plus job drives and job fairs. So 200 plus employability training programs and 50 plus mock interview workshops and 15,000 plus degree student has got benefited through this. So Alhamdulillah. And in scholarships and self-employments, it provided 800 plus higher education scholarships and 750 plus orphan education scholarship and sponsored 250 plus needy youth for starting small scale business. So when we'll go through the area of resource center of AMP, that is 600 plus career counselors, 2,000 plus student council, and 50 plus documents and career guidance. Then 1,000 plus career chart distribution has been done almost in all the institution after completing the 12th standard for the supports. And UMP was connected and rewarded 280 plus renowned educationalists and also connected with 30 plus partners and skill trainings and job fairs, including state governments. 50 plus partners and NGOs for various programs too. So we have been intensely involved in sharing professional resources with students and creating awareness about national and international job opportunities and government scholarship schemes. Currently, AMP reached to peak, that is 100 plus active chapters, which are spread across 25 states and 16 countries with 6,000 active members. So now we'll come to the point, that is AMP has organized this free online career guidance seminar for the students and parents for guiding them to the AMP. Inshallah will be reached to the success if everyone will join with this. So if you want to know more about the AMP, please visit to www.ampindia.org. So after the completion of the first phase of this CGS successfully, AMP has no plan to conduct this second phase. Alhamdulillah, 2 session was over, 3 session was over. No, inshallah, the forthcoming sessions also will be very useful for everyone. So I request everyone to please join in this session every day, and also to please kindly spread this to all over the world and to your relatives as well as to your known persons. Thank you, Jazakallah.
Just start off with the Ibad Bhai's introduction. Thank you, Ibad Bhai. I'll just quickly give you an introduction to Ibad Bhai and his experiences in life. So Ibad Bhai is basically currently the partner at Mount Judy Ventures, and he's also director at Rehbar. Most of our Muslims would have heard of these organizations. He's got 10 plus years of experience in private banking. He's got experience in private equity as well as an experience in investment banking businesses. He has been in the Middle East, and he's worked in the Middle East for one of India's largest private bank. And he was a part of the startup team of a leading private equity firm, and he managed assets in excess of $500 million USA. Completed his bachelor's degree in commerce and MBA finance specialization from the Mumbai University, and he also holds postgraduate diplomas in foreign trade, in foreign exchange, and risk management, as well as Islamic finance and banking. He is associate fellow at the Islamic Institute of Banking and Insurance, London, and he is he holds a doctorate in Islamic finance from the International Center for Education in Islamic Finance, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So nice to have you aboard, Ibad Bhai. And as we discussed, the session today is about a career in finance. So over to you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. I didn't know my introduction is quite boring. Apologies for that. So so the idea is a lot of us as youngsters, when we were studying, we used to run away from finance, considering people say that it is a riba-driven industry, and effectively, or whatever you do, even if you study finance, you cannot do anything which is away from riba, which is partly true, partly not true as well. So as you all would have gauged from my experiences, I was initially in the interest-based economy and worked with a bank which is as interest-based as you can see, and then moved on to a venture capital fund or a private equity fund, set up a private equity fund, which is a little better, but close to that. And then Allah gave me hidayah to go and study Islamic finance. So really, it's not that you have to be in this, it's just what your intention is going to be. So most of you all, Fuzail, correct me if I'm wrong, these are all students which are in grade 11, 12, or how are they? What is the background of?
They are doing 11, 12. The target audience is 11, 12, and some of them are also doing their graduation.
Okay.
And we are actually looking at helping them decide on their career paths relating to finance.
Great. So what I would do is I'll rather make the session a little bit more interactive rather than just me going on a monologue. Effectively, if you all have already studying in 11th or 12th in commerce or whatever field you have basically taken up, or you're doing your graduation in management studies or doing your graduation in commerce. There are a whole lot of fields which basically can open up for you, ranging from chartered accountancy to company secretary to doing up a master's in various fields. Now, earlier we used to have one field or two fields to do our masters in. But now you've got various fields which really open up in terms of to do your masters in finance. Also, finance will have 10 different fields whereby you are taken through the major aspects of finance for starters, and then one of your semesters or two of your semesters will be basically in that specific field. So a lot of my students from NCF have done masters in Islamic finance practices, which is the practitioner aspects of Islamic finance. Some of them did it in the Sharia aspects of finance. So there are a whole lot of fields which open up for you after you do your basic graduation as well. So let me know as to what kind of questions. I mean, I would suggest that you all throw any kind of questions which actually come up to you, because I do not have a structured. Yeah, I do not have a structured presentation which I have thought out for myself. It's better that I clarify your doubts rather than me thrusting something across to you all.
Ibada, if you could just highlight to students what the industry is like for finance, how they can go about choosing their career in finance, and then we'll take question and answers after that.
Sure. So I'll go very broad. I'll give you like a 20,000 feet view. So if you do something in finance, say probably you do a chartered accountancy. Now there are two basic fields where you can join in. So you've got the financial services sector, which consists of banking, insurance, venture capital, all sorts of financial services which you come across. That's one segment. Then there is also the segment whereby within the companies itself, these companies need qualified finance professionals to be able to handle their financial matters. So say probably Hindustan Unilever would require somebody in the finance or whole finance department to ensure that their decisions which they take are do not impact them adversely. So does launching a particular product make sense for Hindustan Unilever? So that in itself the CFO and his team basically manage. Then all these larger companies, they also have something called a treasury team, which basically manages some bit of their money. So on a 20,000 feet view, you can have two broad sectors whereby you can say you have banking, insurance, BFSI, which is called, and the financial services sector. And then you have the normal sector, which is basically all your companies which deal in whatever it may be in terms of physical products, and supporting their finance division is something which you all can work in. Within the banking and finance sector, there is obviously banks. Then there are asset management companies, which means like your mutual funds. Then there are private equity funds, which means that although the company may not be, or may not have equity shares listed on the stock markets, but they still invest into companies which are not listed. So companies like Ola, Flipkart, Baiju, all of these kind of companies have graduated on from something called venture capital to private equity. So this is also a field which you can go into over a period of time. Now, within this industry, there are specifications where the industry likes certain qualifications for a person to have, like for private equity, venture capital, for equity research. People need to have slightly bit more expertise than just having something like a master's in finance or an MBA finance. You may also need to do something called, which is becoming a norm now, which is called CFA, and there are 3 levels of CFA which people need to take, which is Chartered Financial Analyst, which preps you up for how to value companies, how to understand what the value of each company is and how much a person needs to pay for it. So each of these specific sectors also like extra qualifications. Needless to say, if you are an MBA finance or you're a master's in finance, you can get up employment in all these different sectors. But the better jobs would generally go to people who are rather better qualified. Not to mean that better qualified means a better resource, but nevertheless, that's how people start. When you look at your CV, it is majorly what you have done in terms of if you are a fresher, what is that you have studied and what is that you can bring onto the table. Please, have I answered the question or you need me to clarify further? Please feel free.
Yeah, I think it's that part of it is fairly clear. Now, another thing, Ibad Bhai, I'm actually thinking of also is we have the finance function, obviously, and we have the financial services and the managerial finance, corporate finance, financial management, and all of that. But finance, I believe, is also closely related with a lot of related disciplines, which includes economics and accounting, conceptually speaking. You think any specific careers that our attendees can build relating to these sort of disciplines?
So sorry, I get biased with the industry. Although I'm a PhD, but I still get biased with the industry. So the BFSI sector, as I mentioned, is one vertical which a person qualifying in finance can go into. As Fuzail basically mentioned, and I had mentioned earlier as well, you can get into the finance function of these companies. Then there are research divisions of various, economists, of government, of various, of various supranational institutions like you may call Islamic Development Bank or World Bank or IMF. So all these all these institutions are called supranationals, and effectively they also take in people who are research-oriented kind of people who put across do research on problems which the world is facing, which are related to finance. So an Islamic Development Bank would do a lot of research work on Islamic finance related issues. Then there is chartered accountancy related bodies, like for Islamic finance you have something called AOFI. You have chartered accountancy specific chapters in various places which you can get employed in as well. So those options are also open to you all. But basically, what you will realize is that after doing your qualification, whether you do commerce or management studies and then go on to post graduation, earlier it used to be just the banking and financial services which used to be an option. Now you have everything under the sun, which is everything which requires finance is open to you to pick up a job in. It's just that you might need some additional qualifications apart from your basic degrees whether this is graduation or whether this is post-graduation. Also, a point which needs to be highlighted that there are a number of the number of institutions which are giving degrees now have increased dime of a dozen. What you need to do is to be relevant to whatever sectors you are getting into. You'll need to try and get into the best of institutions, considering the best of the jobs will go to people who are coming out from the better institutions. And also, very importantly, it's not only getting a job, it is how you are. It's not only in terms of what qualification you have, but also in terms of the kind of your mind gets seasoned. So I'll just give you an example. The way so my partner, I'm very privileged to work with him. My business partner is from an institution called IIM Ahmedabad. He's also studied at London School of Economics, and he's also studied at Harvard. The way he thinks is very different from the way I think. And the way I think is going to be very different from the way somebody else thinks from some other institution. So what really happens is all these institutions, whether it is IIM Ahmedabad, London School of Economics, Jawaharlal Bajaj Institution, whatever institution, the better institutions, they have a way of seasoning their candidate. So whoever studies at these institutions is seasoned in a particular fashion. Not to say that there are also people who are who are not great who come out of these institutions, but 8 out of the 10 times you have some very good candidates which come out of these institutions. And these people tend to get up in the high-notch places over a period of time. So it is better for you to work extremely hard and try and get into the better institutions over a period of time. This is needless to say, but I just thought I'll mention that across.
Sure,
Suzail?
Yeah, sure, I'm here. So also was thinking in India specifically, if you had to think of what are the more sort of evolving areas in finance that hold scope for the future?
So something which is actually gaining significant importance is venture capital. Now, if you see around you all, technology is changing the way things happen. And a lot of this technology is happening at the behest of startups. Now, how do you would see in papers that, some college kid who invented like 5 or 10 different apps and suddenly has become a millionaire, if not a billionaire. So there are a lot of people who are, taking entrepreneurship as a course of work. But to fund these people, there is a specific line of work which is called venture capital, which means I invest with you based on your venture. So venture capital is a fairly expanding field of work which is taking forth. Equity, as much as earlier what used to happen, people used to only save their money in banks. Now what is really happening is people are getting more and more attuned to investing their monies. So mutual funds are catching up. People are talking about stock markets. People are talking about shares. So equity research is one of the fields which is catching up significantly. So yeah, these investment related positions are significantly opening up. And as India moves from deploying this savings into better instruments, these fields will only expand, because you would see that the number of banks which were there earlier, now you've got a lot more banks, you've got a lot more mutual funds, you've got a lot of more people who are calling you up for things. So this is a field which is going to catch up significantly.
Sure. What about international finance? Like, is that very different from, like, if somebody had to pursue finance from an Indian perspective?
So international finance, I mean, there are two aspects to it again. One is with respect to what a corporate and his needs are. So effectively, when you import or export, you have to make payments and you have to receive payments for it. So international finance relates with whatever is associated with the financial aspects of you doing trade. Then there is the other aspect of forex. So what really happens is you can't pay in rupees; you have to pay in dollars to these people. So what are the various things which are associated with this forex? So what really happens is, one is when I want to bring in a consignment of, say, probably doors from, say, probably from China. I'm sorry of taking that example, but at this particular point of time, that's what country which comes to me. तो चाइना से हम अगर मंगा रहे हैं तो उसके लिए मुझे पेमेंट करना है. अब वो पेमेंट रुपीस में नहीं होता है, वो पेमेंट डॉलर्स में होता है. तो वो उसके लिए क्या डॉक्यूमेंटेशन लगता है कि वहां से माल चला गया, वहां से माल निकल गया, यहाँ से माल पहुंचा. Once I see the documentation that we have received the goods, then we make the payments. So this whole process is international finance, the first leg. The second leg is also international finance, but a larger aspect of it as to how to manage this foreign exchange risk of a particular entity. कि क्या होता है कि आज जो है 75 के ऊपर जो है से probably डॉलर चल रहा है. मुझे अगर if I may have to make $1 million का पेमेंट करना है तो मुझे 7.5 करोड़ रुपए देने हैं. Now what really happens is markets are very fluid, foreign exchange markets. तो कल अगर डॉलर अगर चला गया 80 रुपए पर, तो मुझे जो है 80 लाख रुपए देने पड़ेंगे. तो 5 लाख रुपए का मेरा और नुकसान हो जाएगा to buy the same dollar. So what happens is you have something called forward contracts. You've got derivative contracts to be able to hedge this risk. So all of this is covered in your your international finance as to how this flow of trade works, how a flow of the international. So this is between a company and a company in India and China. There could be the larger level discussions which happen in terms of country to country loans, country to country investments, and so on and so forth. So how to manage that risk, how to ensure that those relations are managed best. That is international finance. And as the world gets more and more globalized, international finance is only going to get more and more impetus. This is I'm saying it in a time when we are sitting in lockdowns, and really there is really no trade, really very little trade which is happening. But I would assume that this is till the time a vaccine comes up, and hopefully we are out of this situation.
Yeah, that's actually international finance, and quite an interesting topic there also. We also हमारे पास ये है कि जब भी कंपनीज पैसे हैंडल करते हैं, जैसे हमने देखा है कि RBI हमारा इंडिया में है, और जो रेगुलेशंस होते हैं उनके इंडिया में, एंड लॉट ऑफ कंपनीज हैव टू फॉलो जो कंपनी की लॉ होती है, फाइनेंस लॉ जो हम फॉलो करते हैं. ये जो बिजनेस वैल्यूएशंस होते हैं या फिर कॉर्पोरेट रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग जिसे हम बात कर सकते हैं, उसके बारे में भी तो कंपनीज में फाइनेंस के हिसाब से, और जब भी मर्जर्स एक्विजिशन वगैरह होते हैं, तो इस सब के बारे में आपका क्या ओपिनियन है फ्यूचर में जो फाइनेंस रिलेटेड है?
Sorry, all these as economies grow. So our Prime Minister had thought about the $5 trillion economy. Whether that happens or that doesn't happen, it's only an eventuality when it would happen. As in when the economy grows, all of this has to grow. So companies आएंगी, companies blossom होंगे, startups चालू होंगे, कुछ खत्म हो जाएंगे, कुछ will do extremely well. Some of them will sell out to bigger companies. Like example देता हूँ that a lot of a company called Careem in the Middle East. Careem was like an Ola in India, in the Middle East, and effectively that time Uber basically bought them over. So This is called a merger and acquisition, which basically happens. So as in when companies or rather economies grow, this will mergers and acquisitions have to happen. These smaller companies will get absorbed into larger companies. Some of these smaller companies will become so large that they acquire these bigger companies for a cheaper price. जैसे example, आप लोगों ने कुछ साल पहले, I don't know if all of you all are very young, but a few years back, Tata had acquired Jaguar and Range Rover. So उस टाइप की भी चीजें होती हैं जहाँ पे जो है छोटी कंपनी जाके बड़ी कंपनी को acquire कर लेती है because the bड़ी company is in big trouble. So these mergers and acquisitions and all these kind of things will keep happening. How we relate it to finance for a budding candidate who is in 12th standard, 12th grade, or is studying commerce, effectively what will happen is this merger and acquisition creates a lot of work in terms of whether say probably if Tata is acquiring Jaguar and Land Rover, whether it makes sense in terms of finances for me to pay the price which these people are asking for. तो उसका वैल्यूएशन कैसे किया जाता है? तो कंसल्टेंसी कंपनीज होती हैं, टाटास का जो कंपनीज का जो इंटरनल फाइनेंस डिवीजन होता है, वो लोग दे क्रंच द नंबर्स टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ये लोगों की अर्निंग्स कितनी है, या हमारे साथ मिलने के बाद में इनकी अर्निंग्स क्या हो सकती है, और हमारे लिए ये कितना प्रॉफिटेबल या कितना मुनाफा दे सकता है. So all those things are collated into something called a valuation, and then this valuation is paid for these companies. So sorry, I have digressed a little bit, but Fuzail, yes, mergers and acquisitions is something which, as the economy grows, you will have more and more mergers and acquisitions happening over a period of time.
True बात भाई. India is a growing economy, and all of our people who are listening to the calls, the future is in their hands. So obviously we look forward to a lot of efforts from them also towards the development of our country. It's their responsibility also. और एक topic थी इबाद भाई, is about ये जो capital होता है, working capital या current assets, या फिर जो कैश होता है कंपनी में उसको मैनेज करना पड़ता है, जो इन्वेंट्री होती है कंपनी में उसको मैनेज करना पड़ता है, या फिर वर्किंग कैपिटल उसमें बैंक्स भी इन्वॉल्व होते हैं कभी कभी, और जो कभी कभी नहीं, एवरी टाइम होते हैं और उसका जो ट्रेड में जो क्रेडिट डेबिट्स वगैरह होते हैं और बैंक का क्रेडिट्स वगैरह, तो उसमें कैपिटल का स्ट्रक्चर वगैरह भी वी सॉर्ट ऑफ डिसाइड करते हैं. अर्निंग्स बिफोर इंटरेस्ट होती है, आफ्टर होती है, जो इन्वेस्टर्स होते हैं उनको डिविडेंड देना पड़ता है, तो उनका अर्निंग्स पर शेयर वगैरह होता है. तो इस सबके पीछे भी कैलकुलेशंस होते हैं, और कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल एंड वैल्यूएशंस होती है कंपनीज की वगैरह. तो विद इन द कंपनी, इनसाइड ऑफ अ कंपनी क्या क्या होता है फाइनेंस के हिसाब से, इफ यू कैन थ्रो सम लाइट ऑन दैट.
तो जैसे मैंने आपसे कहा कि दो ब्रॉड फील्ड हैं कि आप या तो फाइनेंस सेक्टर में जाएं या आप फाइनेंस डिवीजन में चले जाएं कंपनीज के. तो इफेक्टिवली से प्रॉब्ली अगर मेरी एक कंपनी है जो वैसे प्रॉब्ली विच मैन्युफैक्चरर्स मेडिसिन, राइट फ्रॉम द एस्पेक्ट दैट मुझे कितना पैसा चाहिए मेरी फैक्ट्रीज, एक तो फैक्ट्रीज लगाने के लिए, दूसरा फैक्ट्रीज चलाने के लिए. सो फैक्ट्री लगाने के लिए इट्स कॉल्ड कैपेक्स. कितना कैपेक्स की मुझे कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर की जरूरत है. फिर उसके बाद में जो है मुझे कितना वर्किंग कैपिटल की जरूरत है, जिसको कहा जाता है ओपेक्स, ऑपरेशनल एक्सपेंडिचर. तो वो सारी चीजें जो है ये फाइनेंस डिवीजन डिटरमिन करता है. फिर उसके बाद में जो है चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स जो है वो, बिकॉज यू हैव टू ऑल रिपोर्ट दिस टू द शेयर होल्डर्स ऑफ द कंपनी. तो ये सारी चीजें जो मैंने कितना पैसा मेरी कंपनी में लगाया, कितना पैसा रॉ मटेरियल के लिए लगा, कितना पैसा मैंने जो है वो फिनिश प्रोडक्ट बनाया, उसको कहाँ बेचा मैंने. सो अ लॉट ऑफ द डिसीजंस विद रिस्पेक्ट टू फाइनेंस आल्सो गेट इनटू कि यहाँ पर ये मार्केट में कुछ ज्यादा मुनाफा होता है, कुछ दूसरे मार्केट में कम मुनाफा होता है. तो उसके हिसाब से जो है आप जो है माल एलोकेट करते हैं, आपके जो है रिसोर्सेज एलोकेट करते हैं. So resource allocation, your finished material, where it needs to go, what geography needs to go, what needs to be the pricing after you've sold the product. how your payments are going to be after your payments come in, how you are going to recognize your payments in your financial statements, कि कितना जो है मुझे मुनाफा हुआ, कितना खर्चा हुआ at the end of the day, and कितना profit हुआ और उस profit का मैं क्या करूं. So all of these decisions are basically taken by the finance division headed by somebody called a chief financial officer, CFO कहलाता है, या financial controller भी कहते हैं उसको कुछ लोग. So all this is basically managed by hopefully by people like you all who will study finance, do your chartered accountancy, do your MBA finance, do your masters in finance, and go and sit into these positions and be able to do all of these activities and at the end of the day deliver significant results.
Nice, thank you. I personally believe that there are three main divisions of finance. एक तो personal finance होता है, एक corporate finance होता है, और एक public finance होता है. So what do you think?
You're right. You can segregate it as depending upon how you view these things. So as you said, personal finance is what my finances basically are. I mean, if you take the way the GDP is calculated, you can calculate it in different ways. But yes, personal finance would be how I manage my own expenditure and my family's expenditure, which would be how much salary I get, how much savings I make, how much spendings I do. Similarly, corporate finance would be basically how a corporate or a business basically does this activity of buying raw materials, converting it into finished goods, or trading this and getting money out of it. And at the end of the day, how our governments really manage the money in terms of whether it is the government or whether it is the central banks who manage the money. So governments, how they spend their money in terms of building the infrastructure, development activities, subsidies, etc., and how RBI or the central bank basically manages the activities. So yes, Fuzail, as you said, you can broadly classify it as these three. But yes, you can depending upon the view you look at it, it can be classified differently, and there is nothing wrong with it.
Okay, what about careers in banking? Because you work with a bank. So how is working with a bank different from working with any other company? And matlab usme any difference that you've seen? Because you are specifically finance, so you've worked in finance and banking specifically. But banking industry specifically, if somebody has to get into the banking industry, how do they do that? क्या options है उनके लिए उधर?
So effectively, अगर बैंकिंग में जनरली जाना है तो there are some basic, जैसे किसी भी चीज को करने के लिए जो है बेसिक इंग्रेडिएंट्स की जरूरत है. जैसे अगर आप बिरयानी बना रहे हैं तो वो कुछ बेसिक इंग्रेडिएंट्स की जरूरत होती है. उसके ऊपर आप क्या डालते हैं, इट ओनली एनहांसेस द फ्लेवर ऑफ योर बिरयानी. So effectively, during our times, which is close to about 2002, so it's about 18 years back, was the fact that अगर आपके पास में एक MBA finance है और अच्छी institutions हैं, so you get one of the best jobs, right? So what really happens is there are all types of jobs which you will get in a bank or a financial institution. So the best job will go to a person who is I'm just specifically speaking about entry level jobs. You'll get the best jobs for people who have probably an MBA from a good institution and have taken their CFA exams or qualifications in various financial products and so on and so forth. So अब तो जो है MBA finance जो है एकदम mandatory हो गया है. For a decent job, you should have an MBA finance. MBA finance also अच्छे institution से भी हो सकता है और mediocre institution से भी हो सकता है. So depending upon that, you will get your salary. Depending on that, you will get your work profile. So MBA finance is most probably a must. MBA marketing, you can use that to market financial products. If you have a CFA along with your MBA, you'll be able to get into valuation related jobs, which is venture capital, private equity, treasury management, also. So those kind of jobs needless to say, it does not mean that if I am a graduate, I cannot climb up the ladder. It is definitely possible that you just have a graduation degree and get into banking and finance, and over a period of time enhance your skills, or your work is so good that you keep on climbing up the ladder. But the road becomes longer, and the road becomes a lot more difficult if you do not have the right kind of educational background, or your degrees do not do not bolster your career. Needless to say, degrees ही खाली important नहीं होती. You have to also show that आप कुछ पढ़ने के, आपने डिग्री से कुछ निकाला भी है. So I may have several degrees, I may have a PhD, but at the end of the day, if I cannot translate whatever I have learned into on the ground, I'm useless to the company. So this is what it is. Finance in banking and financial services sector, how it is different is that there is no tangible product. आपका product जो है पैसा है, कम पैसा, ज़्यादा पैसा, and that's what it is.
Correct. Another quick thing is about capital markets. हमारा जो stock exchange है, इंडिया में तो सिर्फ BSE, NSE है, but there are others also. मध्य प्रदेश stock exchange वगैरह है. अभी international stock exchange भी खुला है in the World Trade Center Gift City जो अहमदाबाद में है. इंडिया का first international stock exchange that has been on. So what do you see the future of the capital markets अभी इंडिया में?
So as I mentioned to you, capital markets comprises of all sorts of capital markets, whether it is, so generally when you say capital markets, it is referred to the share market या stock market जिसको बोला जाता है. Those throw up jobs like equity research, broking, fund administration. तो उसके अंदर जो है आपको equity trading के jobs मिल सकते हैं, उसके अंदर आपको valuation की jobs मिल सकते हैं, जो research analyst कहलाते हैं लोग, वो टाइप के jobs मिल सकते हैं आपको, private equity में jobs मिल सकते हैं, venture capital में job मिल सकते हैं, funds जो लोग चलाते हैं, ancillary services जो होती हैं उनके साथ में, उसके अंदर jobs मिल सकते हैं अगर आपने finance किया है तो. Basically the crux of any capital market is this, that जैसे हिंदुस्तान यूनिलीवर का अगर कंपनी अगर है तो ये कंपनी की वैल्यू 1000 करोड़, 5000 करोड़, 10,000 करोड़ है कि नहीं है. तो उसके अंदर आपको मालूम करना है कि अगर 10,000 करोड़ की वैल्यू है, अगर है, और अगर शेयर मार्केट जो है उसको 9,000 करोड़ का वैल्यू कर रहा है तो आप उसको खरीद लेंगे, और अगर 11,000 करोड़ का वैल्यू कर रहा है तो आप उसको बेच देंगे. So the whole crux remains this. And as I mentioned, as the economy and as people start saving and investing more of their money, capital markets, venture capital, private equity is only bound to increase. Jobs in that area are bound to increase.
You think every state can have their own stock exchange in India? Is that possible?
There is no need for a stock market in all cities or all states for that matter. BSE and NSE is good enough. It's just that how whether it gives the opportunity to these companies to be able to go and list and get money. So the idea is this, that stock market इसलिए होती है कि जो companies हैं वो पैसा raise कर सकें, और जो लोगों के पास में पैसा है वो लोग अपना डिप्लॉय कर सकें. So nowadays with all this online broking and online trading, you really don't need to be in a particular part of the world to be able to trade stocks. So I mean, I can be sitting at my home and trading in London or trading in Tokyo. So it doesn't really matter. So अगर मेरे बगल में अगर कोई exchange हो तो it doesn't give me an advantage, or it does not give me a disadvantage.
Sure. So everything is online then. Okay.
Everything is online.
Yeah. So another quick thing is a very important question. What is the difference between Islamic finance and normal finance?
So, okay, I can talk on this for hours and hours together. I'll limit myself to just 30 seconds on this. So what I'll just give you an example.
We can continue. We
So,
can continue till 4:45 if you want.
we can continue. I can't continue, unfortunately.
Okay,
So,
Vivek. Important question, but I think it's answered. Yes.
So I'll give you a quick example on this. So if I'm a poor guy out of a slum in Tannery Road, and effectively I go to a bank and I ask them for money to be able to build a company, they will ask me, where is your collateral? So I will say that I'm a poor person and I can't give you any collateral. कोई गारंटी नहीं दे सकता मैं आपको. तो वो लोग कहेंगे कि अच्छा ठीक है आप गारंटर लेके आओ. तो मैं बोलूँगा कि मेरा जो गारंटर है वो मेरे इतना जो है गरीब है. तो वो मुझसे कहेगा कि जाओ आप भाई जाके आप अपने टैनरी रोड में ही रहो. Similarly, if Anand Ambani goes, or rather picks up the phone and wants a loan, there will be banks which will roll the red carpet for him. Even they will come to his ivory tower in Bombay and give him whatever money he needs.
Huge bandwidth.
So the point is that this is a structural problem, whereby if I'm a poor person, I will not be able to break the cycle of poverty, right? And for a rich person like Anand Ambani, I will keep getting richer because I am renting money, right? मैं लोन लेता हूँ और उसको ऐसी जगह पे लगाता हूँ जहाँ पे वो और मुझे पैसा देता है. तो मैं कम पे बोरो करता हूँ और ज्यादा पे लेंड करता हूँ, तो मैं बैठे बैठे पैर ऊपर करके जो है वो पैसे पे पैसा कमाता हूँ. So this is what it is. So Islamic finance basically tries to break this cycle, whereby I say that ठीक है आपको पैसे चाहिए, आपको किस लिए पैसे चाहिए, and depending upon what I think of the profitability of your project, I'll be able to finance you. Now, this is not strictly the only Islamic finance which is available. There are other things which Islamic finance also does. The crux of the matter is Islamic finance believes that money is just a medium of exchange and not a product by itself. तो मैं पैसे को जो है कम पैसे के लिए या ज्यादा पैसे के लिए एक्सचेंज नहीं कर सकता, जो कन्वेंशनल फाइनेंस करता है कि मैं अगर आपको आज पैसे देता हूं तो कल मुझे आज 100 रुपए देता हूं तो कल मुझे आप 105 रुपए देंगे. और अगर आपके बिजनेस में अगर नुकसान हो गया तो मैं वो नुकसान नहीं लेता. तो इस्लामिक फाइनेंस बेसिकली डज दैट. जहां पे 100 रुपए देता हूं मैं, तो आपको बोलता हूं कि क्या करोगे आप उसका. अगर आपका बिजनेस कर रहे हो तो उसके अंदर मेरी प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रहेगी, और प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग में से जो है इतना जो है मुनाफा मैं ले लूंगा, और अगर नुकसान हुआ तो फी सबिलिल्लाह, दैट्स ऑल राइट. we keep doing our activity, and it keeps on moving that way.
Right. So Vibhat bhai, two or three questions from the attendees that I'm going to ask you now. Very short and very quick and very relevant, which are important to them. First question from Anonymous. I completed MBA in 2015 and I joined a CA firm as a VAT CST tax filing. Later when GST came, then VAT and CST closed. Then I lost my job and I started teaching as a professional. Now I want to change back to finance field. What can I do now? Can you guide me?
So if you have an MBA finance, you have the ingredients which it takes to get back into the industry. It's just that you will have to keep trying. It's one of the worst times to actually look for a job and to change jobs. I would suggest just be at it whatever your job is currently at. If you want, you can take on. It is one of the better times to actually study and sharpen your skills. If you want to get into capital markets, try and pick up a few courses in capital markets. If you want to understand banking and finance, there will be a lot of courses which are offered with respect to banking, which will increase your chances to get that job. But you'll have to keep applying and getting at it. But your basic qualification of an MBA finance is good enough for you to get a job. If you are from an institution which is not that well qualified, that well ranked, let me put it this way, you'll have to do a lot more effort when you get a job, and you'll have to climb up the ladder. So probably the job which you get will not be up to your liking, but you'll have to just stick to it and excel at that to be able to get a better job or a better profile.
Thank you, Bharat.
Fuzel, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry, I'm really sorry about that. I will reattempt the question.
Given.
From brother Sean Suarez. He says, I am a first year Bachelor of Science student, but recently I've discovered my passion for finance and would really like to pursue a career and field in the future in finance. I have two options: complete my 3 years science graduation and then apply for an MBA, or two, quit college now and join business management studies and then do an MBA. So what I want to know is, would being a science student ruin my chances of getting into a good MBA course, or would it be fine to carry on with my BSc graduation? What would you recommend?
Oh, absolutely. Don't worry about science or commerce or arts for that matter. As long as you have a graduation certificate, it basically it is good enough to get you into for you to take a common entrance test, common admission test, whatever you may call it, and get into a good MBA school. Some of the best MBA finances which I have seen are people who are also engineers. So really, it doesn't matter whether you have come in from science or from arts. Commerce just makes a few subjects a lot easier because you've been there and done that before, but does not give you any kind of handicap to take on the world in finance. In fact, if you are good at maths, your financial skills will be equally good. You'll be able to grasp this a lot better. At the end of the day, whether it is science or arts or whatever, it's just your basic, basic street smartness which will basically get you through. So don't worry. Just continue with whatever you are doing. Do not waste your years which you have put in for your which you've studied. Just continue with whatever it is. Just ensure that when you are taking your admission test for your MBAs, prepare yourself extremely well, and try and get into the best of the management colleges.
He also wanted to know if CFA alone is any worth, or is it necessary to do an MBA as well?
No. CFA is basically, you can do your CFA independently as well. And effectively a CFA would, so CFA is Chartered Financial Analyst, right? So it will prepare you for one kind of job, right? So valuations, mergers and acquisitions, equity research, etc. Management, MBA, finance, or whatever MBA you take, it gives you a slightly bit more holistic look to business rather than just the financial aspects of it. So if you are very keen on getting into the capital markets and valuations and PE and venture capital, go ahead and do CFA and just get into the industry, work for a few years, and then probably do an MBA from a great college.
Okay, Sarah wants to know if CFP is necessary for doing CFA.
What is necessary for doing CFA?
CFP. I'm not sure what.
No way. No. Chartered Financial Planner, if I'm not mistaken, is what she's talking about. No. You don't need to do anything. It's not a prerequisite for a CFA.
Fantastic. So with that, we've covered all of the questions. Difference between CMA India and CMA US.
You mean CFA?
CFA India and CFA US.
So let the person actually give qualify the question. CFA is basically an international body, and it has got chapters in across the globe. But the degree basically comes in from the US chapter, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have a CFA, so I don't know too well. But it's an internationally recognized qualification which you get. I don't know of whether there is a CFA in India. I know that there is ICFAI, whatever, ICFAI, some kind of Hyderabad. There's got a management college or something. I don't know whether there is something in CFA India. So.
Okay, thank you. All right. So with that, what are the best universities for finance?
So that's a very subjective question. What are the best universities for finance? If you want to do management, in India, if you would, I think IIM Bangalore is probably one of the best ones in finance. Internationally, probably London School of Economics, Kellogg's, Chicago Booth School. Those are the kind of colleges you need to aim for in case you want to go internationally.
Okay.
But generally, what really happens is if you Google or if you put up these rankings keep changing over a period of time. So you might just want to look at what the latest rankings of financial B schools in finance is. Jamnalal Bajaj is one of the better ones as far as I know. So that's what it is. I mean, before you take on, what I would suggest you all to do is just put your head down and if you, as I mentioned to you, an MBA is like a must nowadays for a financial career, or CFA is a must if you want to get into something of capital markets. Study extremely hard for these exams. Leave everything, whatever happens, whatever the thing, just leave everything and study extremely hard for these exams.
Okay, so that was a very holistic session. Ibad Bhai covered most of the points in finance, financial management, finance-related careers. I'm sure it's benefited almost all of the participants who have been here with us. Thank you very much.
I really hope so.
Thank you very much. We wish you all the very best with your business, with Moinjuli Ventures, with Rehbar, and with your future as well. And I wish all of the attendees a very great future in finance for yourselves as well. Study hard, go for it, whatever you want in life, but be very careful that you're treading the path in finance, because it's a very, very large field, like we've discussed already. And wish all of you all the very best. So I would now call on Shehzad Bhai to do the closure of the session with a small dua. Assalamu alaikum.
I'll just take a quick minute as well, just to sensitize people about it. That a lot of you all, probably I mentioned this at the start of my talk as well. A lot of us, people from the community have been very apprehensive about finance as a career, because it entails interest, or it entails riba, which is against our religion. But what you need to do is to get out of something, sometimes you actually have to hold the bull by the horns. So even if you were to get into a bank to understand what the system is, to be able to create another system which would be worthy of the current system which is going around. So even if you were to get into these banks, these financial institutions, do it as a learning ground. If you keep running away from finance, it has really cost our community significantly, because we've been away from finance, and really we have no presence. I mean, if you pick up the best of the people around in the finance industry, and very few of them would be from the Muslim community. So whereas what is also heartening is that if you pick out people from the international Islamic finance industry, you'll find a lot of them who are in high-notch places which are Indians. So, be at it. As Fuzail said, study hard, put in your work, and inshallah, Allah will make it easy, and Allah will make it easy for all of you all. All the best, brothers and sisters.
All the best, everybody.
Bismillah. Let's do the dua.
Thank you so much, Ibad bhai. Ibad bhai, there is one question that somebody has raised on Facebook because we have done Facebook Live. Just wanted to ask you about that one question. Like, people who are going into commerce stream after 12th, they only have on their mind that if they have to stay in the finance field, they have to do their BCom and then pursue their CA or other financial things. So is there any, if somebody cannot go for CA because it is very difficult to get into a CA, so is there any other certifications that they can do after their graduation, after BCom?
Oh, बहुत सारे हैं. I mean, so MBA Finance is one of them. So CA will be, you can also fast track your CA by when you are graduating. You can basically start your CA foundation articleship and this thing much before that. Yes, CA is a difficult stream to clear up in one go, but you put in your hard work, you'll be able to clear. But apart from CA and MBA Finance, there's also CS, CFP, all sorts of certifications are there. But try and take things which are not, which do not restrict your career to one specific field. Because what really happens is a lot of people discover what they really want to do after they have put in 3, 4, 5 years of work. तो अगर मैं कुछ स्पेसिफिक चीज कर लेता हूँ और फिर उसके बाद में मैं किसी और चीज में जाना चाहूँ तो मेरे लिए जो है उतना ही और डिफिकल्ट होता चला जाता है. वो फील्ड को ब्रेक करना जो है बहुत डिफिकल्ट होता चला जाता है.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for this insightful session, Ibad bhai. I hope that everyone who attended this session must have taken all the benefit from it, and they will try to see if they fit into this career and they will choose the right career accordingly. So to all the participants, it was fantastic to have you all on board. AMP organizes such session by highly qualified professionals and experts in a particular field to share their learnings and viewpoints, to guide not only the youths but everyone. So we request you all to keep joining these sessions, which will help you in choosing the right career, which will help you succeed in your career, and also share this with your friends and family. Ask them to join these sessions, as these sessions are completely free, and this is sort of a free counseling, you can say, for career guidance seminar which we are going through. So it is a free counseling that you will be getting, so you can decide for yourself if I am the right person to choose this field. So we are now going to end this session with a short dua. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين يا أول الأولين يا آخر الآخرين يا ذا القوة المتين يا راحم المساكين يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تبارك ربنا وتعالى يا ذا الجلال والإكرام ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم يسر لنا أمورنا كلها مع راحة لقلوبنا وأبداننا والسلامة والعافية في ديننا ودنيانا حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Every participant who is available right now, I have shared one link in a chat box. So we'll start posting all our past CGS videos on this link. So you can keep this link safe with you, and you can listen to all the live recordings from these links. Even of the past phase 1 CGS recordings are available as of now. So you can save it, and we will also share it with you all on WhatsApp and email. Thank you so much. We'll be ending this session now. This is Shehzad signing off. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.